Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of One on One with the Ginger One. I'm, of course, Gingerheat, and I'm joined by my hardcore hero, the Green Phantom, the longest reigning IWS champion in history. How you doing, man? How's the start to summer been? Montreal summer is a pretty special time, so have you been taking advantage?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty fantastic so far. Enjoying the weather, even the rain today. You need a bit of both to enjoy both. Yeah, I'm having a good time. Living the dream as always, getting with the green every day, every single way, baby.
Let's go.
And just like you with your green screen, fabulous.
I had to put it up just for you, man, of course. I didn't need it today, but it had to go up. So we're on a sports network called the Pantheon Sports Network, and we did a show with a dude who does My Weekly Mixtape because they also have a bunch of music shows. Were you around in the time of the mixtape? Do you remember mixtape? Was that ever a thing for you? Did
No,
you ever
no
get
doubt.
one or make one?
I made tons of mixtapes
Yeah.
throughout my youth for sure.
No way. Any like standout songs that was like a go-to you had to put on there? Or
Well, I mean, there's just my musical tastes are so eclectic, you know. So a mixtape will be exactly just that, you know. And I'm going back far enough that my mixtape would include Slayer, Michael Jackson, ABBA, Johnny Cash, Pearl Jam, to name a few.
holy shit, yo, that's really eclectic. That's sick though.
And throwing some Wu Tang or KRS-One for sure in there.
Oh, that was one of my first tapes ever. Was KRS-One whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. That was like one of my first tapes that I ever got. Dating ourselves a little bit there with tapes and that. But what about a wrestling theme? Do you have a favorite wrestling theme of all time, other than your own, obviously, which is pretty goated?
I mean, whatever. On my own, really, you like think mine's goaded? I
Of
appreciate
course.
that. I'm super proud of it. But before writing my own and performing my own, when I was a kid, I hate to say it these days, but it's pretty obvious in the way I talk, brother, and the things I do. Hulk Hogan's thing. I mean, I had the original WWF tape, and I played that song over and over and over. And I can't tell you, as a young little boy, even though I was Canadian, stomping through my living room, pretending to be Hulk Hogan with my original wrestling partner's big gorilla I had. I just kicked the shit out of that motherfucker as Hulk Hogan, and I just kept rewinding that song. Man, I was a real American if there ever was one. You know.
That song in and of itself is an amazing song. Like if you actually just listen to it on its own, it's actually a fucking
Yeah,
banger.
it's a great banger, And throughout time, there's been some great themes. For a while, I was really hooked on the Brood, the Gangrel track,
So good.
Ba-ba-bow.
Rise it up.
Ba-ba-bow. I love that shit. It was
So
fucking
good.
awesome.
So good.
And and even into the modern, I've always enjoyed. I enjoyed the Hurt Syndicate one. We hurt people.
So
We
good.
hurt. I dig it. Again, I've very eclectic views, eclectic taste when it comes to music. A Demolition is another great track that comes to mind.
So good. Yeah, there's so many, of course. That's why it's such a tough question, but it's always fun to get everyone's answers and see, whether it's going to be like is it going to be Sexy Boy or are you going to dig a little deeper? Everybody has their favorites, of course, but not great answers for sure. Um, Knowing Manny, how did you get involved with Manny? Where did you meet this guy, PCP crazy effing Manny? How did
Well,
that come to be?
talking about meeting Manny is kind of it's really a big story, and it'll answer a lot of questions about what Green Phantom is and all that. So I'm going to go on a little bit of tangent here. All right.
Please.
So I met Manny as a teenager in the hood of Two Mountains, Saint Eustache, Faberville area. Usually at that time, I think we were both really into heavy metal. We'd mosh and stuff, and perhaps partake in illegal substances. Uh, Hence the name Manny, PCV guy. Anyway, so we hung out and partied and whatever. And at the time I met him, I wasn't that into wrestling because it was more that was my late teens where I
Okay.
kind of got out of it for a little bit. But as a kid and early teenager, man, I would watch that shit like crazy, crazy.
Okay.
And for a certain time, I wasn't into wrestling, and that's when I kind of hung out with Manny a little bit. And then I kind of lost touch with him for a year or something, just kind of casually. And I hear this ad on the radio for crazy hardcore wrestling. It's Mike Patterson yelling, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to go check that out, you know. And of course, I show up, and one of the reasons why I had to show up is because one of the advertised names was PCP Crazy Manny, and like I knew a PCP Crazy Manny,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's no way he's a wrestler, but at the same time, there's no way it can't be him. I mean, who would have that name, right?
Yeah.
So of course I go there, and it's Manny, and he's doing this crazy shit. He got killed, and I think that was their like second or third show of the WWS at the time. I saw Eddie there, and it was so I loved it so much that I wanted to get involved, and I knew at least at some points I could do it better, you know, kind of like
Yeah.
that, almost like that Remington microblade, you know. I liked it so much. I bought the company or something. And at the time, I saw the show. I talked to Manny after, like right away. Got hooked up with a trainer, this guy TNT, who started training me like the next week. And it just so happens that that was a Halloween show. All right, and and I just started to get kind of back into wrestling. Why? NWO, ECW, Japanese stuff, right? So this kind of and NWO is because I was such a Hogan fan as a kid, and then kind of lost track. And then this NWO thing is wow, this is like interesting, it's exciting, and so I started to pay attention more and get into that Japanese stuff and the ECW, the
And it was hard to
tables.
find all that stuff back in the day. It wasn't like we could just go on
Hundred
YouTube and
percent.
just watch everything. You actually had to go to like some. Do they have satellite? Do they have like pay-per-view? Do they have something, an illegal box? We need something.
You're like talking about mixtapes, dude. We were
Yeah.
trading tapes
Yes,
and
exactly.
matches on them, you know. And I was seeing all this shit. Like it's incredible. Like people ask me, like, how'd you even get into wrestling? Well, these days you can just look on the internet, you know. When I was growing up, like I played football, I played hockey and stuff, and there was that you couldn't just I could see if I was good enough at hockey how I could get to the NHL, or if I was good at football, I could see how I could get to the CFL, baby. But no, wrestling there wasn't that, right. You couldn't see it, so it took that radio ad for me to go to an independent show, you know. This
Crazy.
is 999 or something like that.
Oh my god.
uh,
So
so
sick.
so it just so happened to be a Halloween show. I got back into wrestling. My girlfriend at the time, let's just go back to how we go. My girlfriend at the time, because I had got back into wrestling, she went to Calgary. She came back with a gift, with a wrestling mask. You know, it should have been blue, because I mean this is crazy breaking the kayfabe, but my favorite color growing up was blue. Under this mask. Oh, are you ready to see my face?
No. Yes, of course.
Under this mask, you see, I got the blue eyes. So the blue eyes, kind of influenced what I did when I was a kid. Everything I had was blue shoes, blue everything, right? The mask she got me should have been a blue mask, but
Holy
no,
shit.
but she got me a green mask, right? Um,
Insane.
and so I wore the green mask because it was a Halloween show, with like I wore that green wrestling mask and wore like a jumpsuit, and I was like very enthusiastic fan. I was already big and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
I was in the front row, and I was really a boombastic fan, to say the least. So much so that a lot of people thought I was a plant. Some people thought like I was going to get involved, you know, because I was really up there, you know. I was drinking a bit too, of course. I was so excited. It's Halloween, you know. But so that thing happened with Manny. I saw him started to get trained. So the next night on an AM radio show, they used to have these. Um,
Wait, we still listen to TSN 690. Come on now.
yeah, you can. But this is like, yeah, it was a lot more popular the back then, you know. And there was a wrestling show, and we were talking about the show from the night before. And the guys, fuck, I don't remember the names, but they talked about the show, and they're like, remember the guy in the green mask? What's his deal? Of course, I
Got
had to call up.
mentioned.
I had to call up, because I'm a shit disturber,
Yes.
whatever. I had to call up. I'm like, you don't know who that guy is? He's crazy. He's a maniac. He's gonna kill you. He's
And you
crazy.
just happen to be listening at the same time too. Like
Yeah,
all of these things had to fall into place. That's
yeah.
crazy.
And because I had to get trained, I knew like there was something to it in the sense that I was gonna, get involved. And then they're like, he's crazy to kill everybody. They're like, well, what's his name? And up until that point, I didn't think about, like, I was really like, my mind was completely blank, and the
Oh fuck.
universe threw me verbal diarrhea, Green Phantom, you know, and that was it.
Hey,
And like, I still, for the longest time, I really didn't like it. I find it was really hokey. I still, sometimes, like, I see how people see it. It can be a bit hokey, but it's kind of supposed to be that. It's kind of like a tribute to, um, the kind of 80s character, but still with the hardcore modern twist, And really, I say it from the bottom of my heart. I didn't choose green; it chose me. And every step of the and every for the first most of my career, I kind of denied that, because I still was kind of stuck on this blue thing. And once I really dove into it, once I really dove into it, like realized, I have some Irishness of me, my environmentalism, perhaps my 420 sensibilities.
there's all things that
The
connect with me, so this is amazing. Like,
the bike I've had for 35 years is green. Since I was a kid, my favorite team ever was the Green Bay Packers. I'm just telling you, I could go on and on how green. Once I went into it, it really. I'll give you two more examples. Uh, my beard, right? Of course, I dyed it blue first. Just blue matched my eyes, stuff like that. It was like okay, neat, whatever. And then I decided to dye it green, and somehow it looked natural. Like
it's
I
great.
can't explain it. Just oh yeah, that's natural, of course. It's the most natural green beard you could ever do, man. I don't
It
get it.
doesn't suit anyone else like it suits you. There's no way. Like, there's something about it that works. It's the same thing with the Phantom character. When I first started watching independent wrestling after watching wrestling for years, getting into acting, so I'm always connected to story. I want to see story. Green Phantom is one of those characters that stands out because you are the character in, out, breathing it, living it, every movement, everything. As soon as that, maybe behind the curtain, but as soon as you're through the curtain, it's all on. It's in, it's locked in, and that's what draws people in so much. You can connect with it right away because it's fully into it. It's harder when you have just a name. Obviously, you want to come out and show character. You have something there, and you just go turn it up to like a 10 instantly, and it just draws you in, and that's something that's so special. So all those things that'll line up to become the Green Phantom it just blows my fucking mind. That's so sick.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I mean, all of that. I just appreciate, And again, the more I pay attention and follow the green things, it's really helped me out. I remember in Scotland, I had a little European tour there in England and Scotland, and it was everyone was pretty welcoming. It was pretty cool everywhere, I have to say. Um, but when I got to Glasgow,
I was about to
met up
say,
with
did you go to Glasgow?
I met up with Wolfgang. I don't know if you know him from NXT.
Yeah. Holy
Part of
shit, that's crazy.
just amazing, amazing. Because he came for IWS, so we hung out here in Montreal, and he just wanted to. He felt like he was always trying to repay the hospitality I showed him, but he repaid it a billion times more. Let me tell you, he let me stay at his house and drove me around and stuff. It was him and his wife, fantastic.
What a
Anyway,
legend.
so of all the places in my European tour, uh, they're all good, but it's Glasgow stood out as like being like a kind of a home away from home. I mean, literally, I had a
Yes.
home. It was just really amazing. Everyone was so nice and match was good and all that shit. I was wrestling for ICW out there. You can actually see them on the Sub
Fucking
Network somewhere.
crazy. What?
Anyway, um, and so so like last night I'm there. I'm having a dinner with Wolfgang, and up on the wall of this bar we're in, it was talking about the history of Glasgow and what is Glasgow? What does that name mean? It's actually an Irish name, and it means Green Glen. Of course, I was supposed to be in freaking Glasgow. You know, you can't take the Glasgow out of me. Anyway,
So that mean you're for Celtic then? You have to support Celtic over Rangers now. Is that the deal?
you know, I do I have a choice, brother? I mean, I could say, but I obviously the universe tells me different. So
Exactly.
you know,
Insane. I mean, I didn't know you had such a big, you were such a great athlete before I started looking into it, and finally, like I'd seen pictures of you playing rugby, obviously playing for Irish rugby team, of course, as well here in
yeah,
Montreal.
the Montreal Irish Rugby, whose slogan is "Go Green." I didn't know this before I joined. I got I got kind of conned into joining rugby. I used to play Irish football when I was younger,
Oh shit,
and
crazy.
there wasn't enough games because it's kind of a rare sport here in North America. So my buddy's like, okay, I'll pay for your membership this year if you come play for my rugby team. I'm like, okay, let's do it, And the Montreal Irish ever since now. I've been with that club. I still played this year, and it's the Irish, of course. Green, go green. We played green, and I was just supposed to be there, And when I showed up with the Irish, I don't want to say that I was the catalyst to a turnaround, but maybe I was the catalyst to a turnaround because they were battling in the pits of the C division against this team called Park O. And when I joined them, again, I'm not the solo factor, but I was there for it. A continual rise for about a decade where we almost never lost, and we went up the leagues every fucking year, won the championships. It was just great green glory, brother.
That's beautiful. And then, so does that mean you're a bigger rugby fan than football now?
Um, it's a complicated story because I grew up playing football and I love the sport. I love it as a spectator. I love it. But I just find on the other aspect of the humanity aspect, um, rugby, it's not as specific. So in football, you're a lineman, that's what you do. You're running back, that's what you do. Receiver, that's what you do. In rugby, everyone does everything, which I
Mm.
really dig. Even me as a second rower, they let me kick. Like this season, I was perfect on all my kicks, by the way. And
Oh,
so
wait.
in rugby, you can do everything, which I really enjoy. And also, you don't have to get all this goddamn expensive equipment. Like
Yes.
there's a reason why soccer is one of the world's premier sports. You just need a freaking ball. That's it. Same with rugby. You just need a ball, and there we go.
They
Fun,
they
fun,
took
fun.
they took football away from my high school when I first joined. That was like the year I think they cut it off just because the insurance, the equipment, everything was way too much, so it was gone like that. So we started to play more rugby and everything else because we actually could.
You could. That's it. I mean, I coached I helped coach the Laval Senior Academy Panthers. We have two teams. I'm a high school coach, and for the amount of money, even though I love it, these kids love football, no doubt. I just wish we could introduce rugby, but football stands in the way because you can't do both. But for playing it, I prefer like school resources. That some people are going to hate me saying this if they see this, but like school resources would be better served, spread around, and rugby could do that, whereas this Canadian football, American football doesn't necessarily. It's all really concentrated, which isn't great. And and the ideals, which I mean, rugby they're changing a little bit too, but I've always been a big on. I like honor and respect in sports, and football. The culture. I feel like more and more has that, a lot less of that. Like I was saying about the humanity part of it, where and that comes with rugby. Like you can't really showboat in someone's face and stuff like that. Like your own teammates will hurt you for doing
Yeah,
that shit, for being disrespectful. And so I really dig that about rugby. It's like a proud
that's
thing.
sick.
And when it comes to the equipment and again the humanity together, is that in football humanity escapes you because you can wear this equipment that makes you a projectile, a weapon, right? A helmet and pads, and you just
Yep.
launch yourself at someone with no regard for yourself. So why would you have regard for this person? In rugby, you can't do that because you'll kill yourself. So you have to have a humanity, respect. Like I'll fucking hurt you, and I'll do it, but I'll do it in such a way that I can't die either. Where in football, it's all because of the equipment. All bets are off. I went to WrestleMania weekend, right? Kevin got me some tickets, so I had to take advantage of those amazing seats.
Of course.
Your shirt guy gave me those amazing seats.
No way.
So
Holy.
I had to take advantage and yeah, and also do the indie scene WrestleMania weekend probably better overall than the WrestleMania usually is itself.
For sure.
Everyone you know in the wrestling scene is there, which is really fun and cool.
That's it. I mean, the pictures coming out of there were great. You guys met up with so many cool people. Like,
Yeah, it's always good.
yeah. As we switch it up a little bit, I'll ask you some non-wrestling related questions. We'll see how you come up with these ones. So, simple one. What's your favorite cereal? If you had to have a go-to, maybe as a kid or now, if you don't eat it anymore because I know you're a fitness machine.
Well, I grew up. My parents were pretty tough on me sometimes. Like we would have powdered milk. You know what that is?
Yeah. What?
You
Really?
scoop out, add it and stir it. Add water and stir
Yeah.
it. The worst shit ever.
Horrible. You can't put that in cereal?
So for a bit, the only way for cereal to be palatable if it was like horrible for you, like super sugary stuff.
Yeah.
Later on, sometimes we would get a treat, and my parents would get like 2% milk, and then all cereal tasted the best because 2% milk is just
doesn't even ever say like all brand. Like just at least it has milk.
Yeah. But if I'm going for for health, I know I like these I like those like really thick nut muesli kind of cereals. But if I'm going for taste, it would have to be like throwback to my childhood, like blueberry or some shit like that.
Really? It had to be blue, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time.
I mean, it was better than Count Chocula. And,
yeah, for sure. And same, like as kids, we used to eat all kinds of garbage cereal. Then you get older, take a look at the side of the box, and you're like, 42 grams of sugar, 600 calories for half a bowl. It kind of changes your perspective on it a little bit. But I guess on the same vein, if you're going with a treat, are you going for a chocolate bar? Are you going for ice cream? What's your sort of your cheat meal?
Dude, it's all of the above.
Especially if you smoke, like, it's so hard. You have the munchies. What are you not munching on?
I mean, I like the sweet and the salt together. I could demolish a bag of chips in a second. Yeah. I could demolish all the chocolate in a second.
Is there a go-to chip then? Do you have are you a Dorito guy, a Lay's guy? What's the move?
These days, I'm if it's funny, if it's like a more expensive brand of chips, I like something leaning towards sour cream and onion. But if it's like cheap ass shit, I'm enjoying the all dressed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And as far as chocolate goes, chocolate bar and stuff, because I just horf it down, I like ones that I can kind of like eat technically and like take my time eating it, So like Kit Kats are good for that. Yeah, like I'll eat like the one side of the Kit Kat, then the top. So that's a good one to kind of mess with. The crunchy is good too for that. You gotta eat sides of it, make it last longer. Because if not, I just horf right down there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I say this to a lot too. Ice cream, man. I don't know a situation that I wouldn't take a milkshake from you. Whether it be a funeral or a wedding, I'm there, man. Give it to me. But unfortunately, it's tough these days. Again, the age I am, I'm wrestling people that are half my age, usually, or more than that, half my age. So one of the only ways I can keep up is to try to be in good shape. And the older you get, the harder it is. And diet is so important. And these days, since December, I've lost 7.5% body fat.
Holy shit!
Basically, cutting out wheat and dairy would take. But I mean, I still cheat because I'm a man, and a life without carbs ain't worth living, baby. So
let's go.
So I got to. I still got to enjoy myself.
You can't have an Italian partner and not have carbs. I mean,
yeah, it's tough.
Come on.
It's tough.
There's got to be pizza and pasta coming out all the time.
I'm not over in that household for declining pasta so often, or say like, oh, just give me a little bit of pasta and tons of sauce. Load those meatballs on, mama.
And then like another super maybe calorie dense thing, unfortunately, you have to consume is beer. You're consuming beer all the time. Our buddy
Yeah,
over in
well,
Scotland is now brewing his own. Like, how did you get involved with from going from consuming it to being a part of making it?
just I'm fortunate to be blessed with good opportunities and it just it's long-term relationships coming through to long-term relationships giving fruit, bearing fruit later on in life. And so back in the day, I was a bartender and doorman forever at Bootopia. You know, downtown Montreal, across the street, great place. Um, you know, did every job, and eventually I went away for school. I came back and just started doing the trivia nights. I just host every Monday night. I host the trivia where people refer to me as Alex Quebec. Yeah,
I
doing
love it.
hosting
I
that
love
trivia.
Jeffries. That's sick.
And, you know, my mom actually grew up with Alex Trebek out in the Sudbury, so it kind of
What?
had that going. Anyway,
That's so sick.
love that guy.
R.I.P. the goat.
Yeah, yeah. So and so just doing that and being a patron of Brutopia, one of the brewers had the idea of making a Green Phantom inspired beer, and it was like, wow, this is like that's a good, cool thing. You know, I it's a dream come true. That a dream I never knew I had. You know,
Yeah.
and
The
now
can looks so sick. The can was
yeah, the
beautiful. The beer was delicious.
can's
Like
dope.
it's a win.
And every time I walk in there to see my name on the marquee, you know, it's
So
really
sick.
cool. And then, so, but I had conditions. Like I didn't want to just put my name on anything. I wanted to be accessible because a lot of like microbrewers, you know, like IPAs and stuff, like for the average drinker, it's not really palatable, you know.
Yep.
So I really wanted it accessible. I wanted light in nature and texture, and I wanted it something green about it, in flavor at least. And so in beer, there's really not much out there, right? I mean, hops are green generally, but
Yeah.
whatever. But also, I don't want to be too
Exactly.
hoppy. So, so we came to the idea of lime, right? So lime, but you can't put too much lime because it gets bitter very fast. But you also, but because it's a blonde IPA, you want it to cover up the IPA ness, the hoppiness. So you need to find that perfect blend of lime covering over hops and hops covering over lime, right, to make it nice and smooth and accessible. And it took us a couple of runs to get that going, and it was fantastic, right? It's gotten better. It's gotten better since. Sometimes we adjust a little bit, but I think now we're on the one that's stayed. And about a year and a half ago, because since the beginning, I always wanted to be green, right? I wanted to be color green, and the people, the higher ups or whatever, they're like, no, we don't want it green, and I'm like, it has to be green, you know? They're like, well, the connoisseurs won't like it, and I'm like, f the connoisseurs. If they if you see on a Brutopia menu, there's a real cornucopia, kaleidoscope of beers from black to brown to red to amber
Yeah,
to
they'll have
white
pink. They'll
to
have all kinds of
blonde,
stuff.
all
Yeah.
that. So then added to that cornucopia, now we have a green. Because if you want another color, order another fucking beer.
There we go.
Don't come to me, man. So I kept saying, going after this over and over. Finally, he caved, and since it's been green, wow, it's been going up. I mean, sales are just great. Drinking it a lot, you know.
It's got to be a go-to for St. Patrick's Day in Montreal from now on. That's got to be like we got to blast it out there because it's the perfect beverage for it. You can drink a lot of them.
Best green beer I ever had, and I'm not even being biased, but I am, of course. It's super unique, and I encourage everyone to go down to Brutopia Brew Pub and try it. We had it in cans for a while, but it sold out pretty quick. And because we need to piggyback it off other beers in cans, the cost effectiveness just wasn't there.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that because I used to be able to get it at like IGA anytime I wanted. You could just walk down IGA, grab a couple cans. So it makes sense as to why it's not available there anymore. Usually when I do this, it's some guys that they're still on the come up, so they haven't met that many big known wrestlers. You have a giant list of people that you've worked with, people that you've wrestled with, people that you've just interacted with. Are there any that stand out, from RVD to Sabu, Brody Lee, Ken Shamrock? I could just keep going. Are there any that sort of stand out for you?
Everyone you just named stood out, like
yeah.
they, when someone's when someone's a star, there's a reason they are right, and you know, glitter so I can shine as bright as these dudes. But because that's what stars do, you know.
Heck yeah.
But these people didn't need glitter like I do, you know. I mean? And they just all have something special to them, you know. Like, just they're all special. Like, and they're all giving in their own way, and professionally and personally, you know, because you can't be really successful if you're not giving, you know. And professionally, guys that stick out are the guys that uh like in ring stuff. You might be curious. Guys that stick out are the pros right now, like Rami and Kevin,
The two
Sabu,
goats.
Sheamus. um
You've
these
worked with
guys,
Sheamus?
yeah, I worked with Sheamus in Ireland. um
What?
anyway,
Hey,
so
Ginger
these
Power,
guys
that's my
just,
boy.
yeah, you could be, yeah, no doubt. I whooped his ass, just so you know. All right.
You didn't have me in the corner, that's why.
But there's just a certain smoothness to them, that I never had. They're just so smooth. That's the only way I could describe it. Like how their hand comes off you, how they grab you, how you just everything, every touch is very deliberate but very very smooth. And all the guys you mentioned all have that. Like they're just there's a reason why they're legends. And people call me a legend. Okay, whoa there, calm down. I guess compared to some people, sure. you know
I bet if you
but
ask any of those guys, if we're asking, Sammy or KO, we'll use those names for them. They're going to say the same about you. Like that's a given. So I mean, you don't have to downplay it. You don't have to. It's all good. You deserve that praise. It's not coming out of
about that.
nowhere.
I don't know about that. They're just on another level. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
They're like,
sure.
if you think I'm a legend, thank you very much and all that. But they're just above all that. They're another level. There's a reason why they're so successful. Is that physical ability to be that smooth, but also the uh, nothing else matters except wrestling.
Right.
Like that people ask me how was it take to make it, and that's one of the they did it when I knew them well. Um, they did nothing else. There was nothing else in life. There wasn't partying. There wasn't other sports. There wasn't
Yeah.
really girls. I mean, they're geeks. They're nerds. It's definitely, and 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 here we are because that was their whole life and still is pretty much. I mean, obviously they have families now and things have changed slightly, but still, it's just the most occupying thing in their life. Whereas with me, I've always had other things. Wrestling is still my passion, but I've always had other things going on. Not
It's
not
a
to
little
say
bit of,
that.
yeah, when you have a 9 to 5, a real 9 to 5 type job,
Yeah.
it's really hard to get the training in, the times and the reps in, the travel. Like, you have to balance a lot.
And I got into it late too. I only started when I was like 23 or something like that.
It's similar in the acting world. I've had a chance to work with some really great actors and all that. And there's certain ones you see and you just see what they do. Like, let's say, like on X-Men, Wolverine, right? So, see him standing on set, getting ready, just talking to people. He's just normal. He's the type of actor that can just be talking to the director, talking to some other people. Okay, we have lights, sound. You can see his face change. Hugh Jackman's face will become Wolverine in the moment, like right before they hit action. His entire body shifts, becomes the character, delivers it, cut. He's back to normal. He can talk. Where like myself, other actors, you see James McAvoy on set,
And
he'll be in his tent, hiding, not talking to anybody. Come out, he's already in the character, and then he'll go where Hugh Jackman could just turn it on out of nowhere, and that's the type of thing you see, and you're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, that's how they do it. That smoothness that you talk about, that ability that they live and breathe it, and that professionalism. And so for me, so many of us have fallen off over the years. You get caught up in work, you get caught up in life, and you have to put that dream to the side. You must have seen so many people do that too. But what's it like to keep going and not, giving up on that dream and just keeping it going, continuing to live out your passion?
that's it. I'm just continuing to live out my passion. You said a couple of things that remind me. You said falling and also smoothness. It reminds me because you asked for these moments, these people. Sabu, right? Um, Super smooth in the ring, but his wrestling style, it's kind of goofy in a way. The
Yeah.
way he's kind of reckless and he tumbles. Feels super smooth about it. Uh, so I was wrestling. I was actually wrestling Kevin with Rami as my partner
That's crazy.
in like IWS, and I used to do Sabu's triple jump. I'd hit the ropes, jump on a chair, jump on the third rope, jump to the outside. So Kevin was
Holy
waiting.
shit.
Kevin was waiting on a table on the outside with his jump, and I've done this a bunch of times. For whatever reason, this time I I missed. I slipped on the top rope and I went head over heels, and I was about to break my neck. Instead, I put my arm up and I broke my elbow instead. I guess it's a good thing.
Oh,
Uh, all this to say, I didn't do this move again for a long time. Um, I somehow lost the fear, and when you lose a bit of fear, it's dangerous. Anyway, so what do you know? A few years later, I'm wrestling in a match versus Sabu, and and I'm lying on the ground, and the chair is set up, and Sabu runs, jumps in the chair, jumps on the top rope, and he's supposed to like moonsault onto me, but he falls to the outside, right?
fuck.
And then he's selling it, and I look over at him, and I'm like, shit, like I did this move because of him, right? This is his thing, and
Yep.
now I see him basically, oh, I got to do this move again. The last time I did this move, I broke my fucking elbow. But if it wasn't Sabu, I wouldn't have done it. But I had to because it was him. It was his move. So I hit the ropes, boom, jump, perfect, land on Sabu.
No.
It was like destiny. It
That's
was
such a
destiny.
crazy moment to have, though.
It was destiny.
Holy shit.
It was destiny. And later on, I see PCO, and he's like, because I see him backstage first, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, is he pissed at you? Is he pissed at you? He's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, you did his move, man. You did his move. I'm like, I guess I didn't think about it, but I mean, I knew his move, but I didn't think that he'd be pissed about it because
Yeah.
he wasn't.
Okay.
R.I.P. Man, legend.
Of course.
We hung out, and he would said it just it warms my heart, and it's really real validating. I kind of choking up about it, talking about it. How nice he was to me, and how when I wasn't there, like I saw him. People sent me clips of shit he said about me on podcasts and stuff,
No
and it
way.
really, you know, sometimes the Quebec critics, especially the French ones, don't really dig Green Phantom and don't give me any marks. But when a guy like that tells me, I'm good and I'm a pro and I'm fantastic in and out of the ring, it really makes me. And he's a legend. And so I even saw him wear my shirt a few times. It's fucking fantastic.
What? No
So
way.
so so I just kind of knew it would be fine, and he totally thought it was cool, and it was great, and
Holy shit, man. That is
ripped to that guy.
absolutely
Makes me think a lot
insane.
of
That,
things.
like, no one can take that away. That's so
You know?
crazy.
And then a few years later, I had knee surgery, uh, and I was out for a bit, but RVD was coming to town, so
You worked with Frank Milano, right?
yeah, it was a three-way. I think him, Frank Milano, and what's his name, Matt Angel, and
Oh,
and
nice.
and, and, and because I couldn't do anything, I I was because I picked up RVD at the airport. I just suggested that I should be his manager. The 420 friendly stuff, the
Oh
greens,
shit, that's so
and
sick.
let me think about it, and then we chilled for a few minutes. He was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I got to be his manager, which is fun.
Fucking
Basically,
sick.
Bill Alfonso, throwing in some chairs and stuff. But that was, I just
That's sick.
said that because
I've got his rolling papers on the shelf behind me. You can't see it obviously because of the green screen, but had to get those, pick those up at some point
it's cool.
because so
Super
fucking
cool
sick.
dude, man. Super cool dude.
Yeah, Frankie was telling me a little bit about him. You've had the chance to meet some Montreal legends also. Like I know you worked with Daddy Magic, Angelo Parker, of course. That must have been pretty cool. And then even some non-wrestling legends. Like you've met the mayor of Montreal before. You've met Tony Marinaro, Mitsumi Takahashi, the GOAT.
Roasted. I was part of Marinaro's roast. They had me up on stage
No
roasting
way!
Marinaro.
What?
You didn't see that? That was pretty good.
Oh shit!
Long ass show. Well, I'm pretty tight with the English media in Montreal. Big credit to Mitch Melnick for that.
He is
I'm
so man. He is arguably my favorite radio personality of all time. He's so
he's the
good.
last DJ. He's the last person
Facts.
on radio who can play whatever he wants, have whatever guest he wants. Like he's the last. And a bunch of years ago, when it was on Green Avenue, of course, uh, I met him, and we basically wanted me to come on. He was a wrestling fan as a kid, and
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I came on, taught some shit or whatever, and then he wanted to get it going. He wanted me to put Andy Bennett through a table. That was my last appearance on TSN a couple of weeks ago. It was for Andy Bennett's kind of leaving
The goodbye,
TSN
yeah.
because it was an homage to when I when I stormed in. And you should check it on YouTube. For the longest time, it was like my biggest viewed thing where I
Holy
storm
shit.
in and take Andy by the hair. Very misogynistic. It's tough. And then pile driver through a table, and all while Mitch is in shock. And Mitch played it so well, like it was so real that like people were calling in, the cops came and shit. Like you
No
really dove right
way.
into it. But it was so weird. Like I always say this about wrestling, like wrestling is kind of lowbrow in some people's
Yes.
minds. But goddamn, the people who say it's fake are the first people to get hook lined when I pull a stunt like this, because Mitch just played it well, but they're so dumb because like you don't have the music like dun, 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 welcome to TSN 990 Sports Update, and we have the scores, whatever. So this day, because we've been building up to it, this day it's like dun, 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 welcome to TSN. It's Phantoms time, whatever. I forget what I said, but
So
I
sick.
went like they really went well, and then I came in and took over, and then they went off air. It was like the end of the show and stuff. It was just really well played.
That's
And
so good.
I still have notoriety to this day. And all through Mitch, I've been going back to TSN all the time, pretty much whenever I want to, and got involved with Gallo and Campbell, and obviously Marinero and Andy Bennett, and just through that, tons of people, through Hurley's and Brutopia, a lot of people like Ron Roosh and Mitsumi and just so many to name. I've been lucky. Again, if you attend any of these events, whether it be Mitch Melnick shows or roasting Marinero, you backstage, you're chilling with a lot of people, a few mayors and whatever, a bunch of celebrities and musicians, and you know,
But like
uh,
as a guy from Montreal, like these, like maybe not everybody listening to this, across the pond and all of that are gonna understand these names necessarily. Maybe we'll do some clips of it, but for a guy from Montreal to hear these things, it's just so fucking sick, man. Like
everyone they know,
it's amazing.
famous baseball player Warren Cromartie.
Yeah, of course.
So he was a great here in Montreal, and he
Crow.
also yeah, the Crow, exactly, and he went to Japan to play, and also he did some wrestling out there. I don't know if you know, and he was like a main event wrestler. His move was the home run. He would lock it up and just like kind of home
No.
run. Anyway, so he was on TSN,
Amazing.
and he was there one day to protect Andy, and he gave Green Panther the old home run in the aisle of the TSN studios. You should, it's all over YouTube. It's great.
Yeah, I'm checking it all out,
Great
of
stuff.
course, of course. And for those that haven't seen it, go out and check it out on his YouTube because that's so good, man. Intergender wrestling is getting a lot of talk lately, right? And it's not something we see on the main thing. And like you say, it does have to be done in a certain way, right? We don't want it to be, especially on the main stage, we don't want it to be overly misogynistic or anything like that because the appearance of it can be pretty shocking, I'm sure, to some people. How do you feel about it? Do you think it belongs to stay on the indies? Are you okay with intergender wrestling? What are your thoughts on that?
Wrestling is an art, and I will say that in art, it's the one place where you can accentuate gender, and it can also be genderless, and everything in between, right? Uh, no one's ever seen my cock, you know, but does it matter? Like it doesn't matter. We all play a part, and if that part, you know, it could be ambiguous. It cannot be whatever floats your boat, man. Because even if there's the presenter and then there's the interpreter, so all bets are off, man.
We've had, sort of drag queen. I mean, drag queen wrestling does exist in Montreal, but on the main stage with Santina Morella and other stuff. So I don't know if we'll ever see intergender wrestling at the highest. Maybe Rhea Ripley versus some people might work, but it has to be done right, like you're saying, right?
We've seen it. I mean, China has done it.
China's done it.
Like
IC champ.
so it's around. It just has to. I prefer to always look somewhat credible. I'm a big proponent of credibility. Sometimes to a fault. In the sense that uh, I, I've had workers scared to work with me because um, they were scared of me, you know, and like it, it's a double-edged sword. It's like it's a compliment because you think I'm this dangerous or crazy or whatever, but
Yeah.
also but also if you're working with someone, it sucks that they're a mark for you because then it impedes professional development and professional opportunity. Like I know of at least one. I'm not going to name names, but a really high up Quebec wrestler. She wouldn't wrestle me because she was a mark for my moves, and it held me back, because promoters, can you promoters shut it down and listened. Oh, you can't work with, it's not good, and like I've never heard a person in my life, that's actually not true. Um, Way back 20 years ago, I was doing a double team move. I was coming off the second rope, and another guy was holding it. This other guy, Rick Sterling, and he kind of fell down wrong time. I kind of landed on his collarbone and broke his collarbone. That was like 20 something years ago in Ottawa. Never heard anyone ever since. I mean, sometimes you're playing with glass, you're going to get stuff, but never with a wrestling move, none of that sort of thing.
When you're
And
in a
so,
move with match with Manny, he's going to hurt himself, so you don't have to worry about that.
yeah. So like yeah, exactly. He's a meatbag. But I like that my stuff looks credible. Like when I drop that elbow, when I give you a Phantom Menace, it looks like I'm killing you as it should, and it does.
That's
It kills everyone. They get hurt. They die.
well, that's where it's the best for me is when it's as realistic as possible as it can be. That's where I love it the most, and maybe it's just a
And
different generation
it's
thing. I don't
funny.
know.
It's so funny because here I am talking about realism, and my name's the Green Frickin' Phantom.
But in
How
that world, it
ridiculous is that?
works. You know what I mean? Because you
Exactly.
live and breathe it. It
Yeah,
becomes alive. It makes
there's
sense.
an escapism there, and there's a believability that's there, which
Yep.
I really appreciate. And it can be there's a fine line when it comes to wrestling, which it took me a while to really understand that, and I wish more people would, maybe wrestlers specifically, would understand that.
I
Like
agree 100%. It's one of the things we I'm a jobber. I work a 9 to 5. I don't wrestle. I don't have any right to say anything to any wrestler, but we say it on the podcast is that's where we enjoy it the most is when it's taken that seriously.
I was doing a match yesterday on Verdun Street.
Yeah,
Uh,
outside in the
yeah,
sun. It was actually sunny for once.
yeah, yeah. Nah, and like I told this dude, so we had a chop. Maybe it's too much inside info, but whatever. So I dictated the spot to him where he would chop me. He's much smaller than me, right? He would chop me. I would kind of register it, but not no sell it, but not really sell it. And then I give him a really nice big sounding one, and I told him just sell the shit out of that. Just sell it, and everyone's gonna believe it because it made such a big sound. And of course, the guy doesn't sell it. He's this little dude, and he comes fighting back at me, and like really overhand chops like me a lot, to the point where like 20 years ago, I would have knocked that motherfucker's face off, because he's no selling my shit. But in 2025, you can't do that because you're gonna be the asshole. Even though this guy's fucking up wrestling, fucking up me, fucking up the match. So I just had to grab him and kind of keep him still for a second and pick him up. Then it's like people don't understand. Like, what's saying believability? Like I make one big chop means something. Make that believable. You got to sell that shit.
Because the audience, that's going to change the whole course of the match. Everything that comes after that, the audience is in a completely different state of mind than just no selling that giant chop and coming back with some slappies.
So then it makes everything else like the believability falls into question, because here I was this big guy. I'm a foot fucking taller than you. I'm in shape. You look like a pastry, and I'm chopping you. Go down, man. Make it mean something. Make it believable.
It's not. It's the idea is not to make him look bad. It's to keep it in.
No,
And I know you'll take care of him in the match. Obviously, you're going to
that's
make
it.
him look good at points. Come on.
Everything. When I look good, you look good too. It's an overall story. I really couldn't give a shit necessarily. People talk about winning and losing. I really don't care. Sometimes it's good for the storyline, the crowd, and stuff
Yeah,
like
story
that.
wise, for
But
sure.
for the most part, it's so funny when I come back from something and someone's like, "Oh, did you win or did you lose? Like that's their first question. Like
Yeah.
that matters. It's like, did Rocky ever win a boxing match? No, it's a movie.
Were you
Come
over?
on,
Is
man.
the question.
Yeah, like, oh, because it's so funny. If I say, yeah, I lost, they'll actually look like less of me a little bit. Like, oh, that's like, oh, like Al Pacino. Oh, he died at the end of Scarface. What a loser.
Ruin the story for me. I wanted him to win.
Silly.
So, is there a difference wrestling? There must be a difference, but what's the difference wrestling in front of the crowds here, let's say, compared to Japan? Does everything kind of change when you're over there? They just keep doing the same style?
Um, I kind of do the same style,
Yeah,
but it's
because
just
I figured it would
over it.
work.
It's over in a different way. You
Mm.
know, like the crowd is kind of making noise kind of throughout. They'll be chanting a lot more. You know, but it's more the in between stuff that's different. In Japan, between stuff, it's quiet. They'll still pop for moves. I'm going to do my clapping stuff. They'll all clap along and all
Yeah,
that, but they won't be any filler. You know, that's the main thing. And
yelling horrible things throughout in between, just one
yeah,
person trying
and
to
there's
get
a
over.
certain thing in Japan where, which is why I love going there, is the wrestling's on another level. Like here, it's still kind of looked on a bit trashy to a certain part of the society. Where there, it's kind of honor. You know, it's honorable to do that.
That's
So it's
sick.
really it's cool to go there and be a star, pretty much. You know, like signing all the shit and me, like I look. One of the reasons why I'm over there is because I'm so different. You know, I'm tall. No, none of them are tall.
That's
I'm
why I want to go there. I need
I
that.
have facial hair, green facial hair at that. None of them have facial hair. I'm loud. None of them are loud. You know. So some of the most over stuff is just yelling at the crowd. You know, like
Yeah,
just
that's the most fun though, right? Interacting with the crowd has got to be
100%,
like
100%. One of my favorite matches was against Sakimoto, legend over there,
crazy. Yeah.
and he it wasn't nothing crazy with moves, but I set it up where I knew I wanted to have this type of match where I brought a Japanese flag and a Canadian flag with me, and before the match I gave him the Japanese flag like he had it or whatever, and we went out, had a little kind of flag show off and stuff, and then shook hands, and then I took the Japanese flag and went up and showed it off, and to big applause. He took the Canadian flag and went big applause, and then I sneak attacked
No.
him, started choking him out. I just fucking railed on him and choked him with both flags, and all I did was choke him and yell at everyone. It was
Oh,
like
they
so
must have went
disrespectful,
fucking
but it was
nuts.
so over. It was so over. It was so fun. It was so fun. It was hardly any moves, just choking with the flags. It was just so good. And the sneak attack the setup was brilliant. You know,
Is
if
that
I
like
don't
your?
mind saying one.
Is that your favorite place to work then, or do you just prefer local Montreal type stuff?
I had to say my favorite place to work is IWS. You know, I'm the most over there. But I mean, I've had great times all over the place. You know, I mean, every time I've done GCW, I've been really over. It's really fun. Japan, I mean, at Cork and Hall, like, geez, I remember coming out Cork and Hall. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I
So
still remember it.
sick.
Like,
Oh my god.
coming through that curtain and seeing it, and the place was pretty full. I was like, wow, just insane. You know, I was just freaking come true. You know, just really so fun, so fun. You know.
I won't keep you too much longer. You've already given us a lot of time, so I'll ask you a few more. What's your favorite trivia category, or which one are you the best at?
80s wrestler.
Yeah.
No, I like a lot of stuff. If you ever come to my trivia show, I'm very eclectic.
Good.
I try to cover everything. You know, so I really can't say one category. I like the questions I know the answer
This one. Why Dalmatians?
to. My mom, since I
Yeah.
was a kid,
No
since I was,
way.
I mean, it wasn't the only dog we had, but for especially the last little while, it was the propensity. It was Dalmatians, and yeah, and through circumstances, living here in Verdun, I got the opportunity to get one, and I it was he's my saving grace, Harvey, also known as Lucha Dog. If you uh, if you look on Spotify, the like cover screen for our track, Get With the Green, is me and Harvey both in a mask and a cape. It's
Amazing.
fantastic. He looks great in a mask and a cape. Let me tell you. Yeah, he's just been my angel. He's fantastic. I don't know why. It it chose me.
Yeah, another one of those had to be moments, of course. Yeah, I'm a big dog guy too. Don't have one at the moment, but love dogs. So as soon as I see all those pictures of Dalmatian, I'm
Big
like, yeah,
dog, eh? You're a
let's go.
big dog guy. All right, big dog.
So what's next for the Green Phantom? What's coming up? What can where can people see you in the near future?
Well, always follow me on socials, right? Instagram is my most. I deleted X a while ago.
Nice.
Maybe
Good.
that's a mistake because wrestling seems to go down on that. But what are you gonna do? I'm getting older. I don't
You could
need
have
that.
one of those haunted apps, like whether it's Twitter or X or whether it's Reddit. That's another haunted place that you could get into. That's a little less extreme.
So keep up with me on Instagram for sure. Green Panther 514. I'm whenever IWS is doing something, I'm doing something cool with them. But in the next little bit, 123 lit here in Montreal. I'll be making my German debut. I'm really happy. One of my probably my last bucket list when I really think about it. Maybe besides like WrestleMania or something stupid like is wrestling for WXW. They offered me a few years ago, and I just couldn't make it for whatever reason. And now it came back. So in September, I'll be making my debut in Dusseldorf. I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
Check that
I know
out.
you're not a big beer guy, so you won't enjoy the German beer, but try to.
I want to try their meanest ale, baby.
Let's go. Yo, man, I really appreciate you taking the time. This was the Green Phantom, of course. You can follow us at the Four Jobbers everywhere on social media. Man, thank you so much for coming out. Really appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the ring again soon.
Check out all those stories on YouTube, and maybe I'll see you on the Four Jobbers one day. Get with the green, baby!